I'm starting off this year with my first tournament, January action, at my favorite place to play, Chess Zone. And in round one, I was matched up with Brad. Brad is rated 1951, and I'm 17. No, Brad is 1862, and I'm 1781. So the game starts off. Brad has the white pieces. He's played e4. No, I have the white. I have the white pieces. Brad, so hold on, let me switch the board. I have the white pieces. E4. Brad responds E5. Knight F3. Knight C6. Bishop B5. We're going back into the Spanish. A6. This is all theory. Me and Brad played a similar line before. Knight F6. Castle. Bishop E7. Rook E1. B5. Bishop B3. And here Brad castles, which signals the martial attack is what he wants to go into. And so because we played this exact same line, I think last month, I thought maybe Brad had some hidden theory that he probably went over. He had maybe a secret line. He made some improvements that I wouldn't know. So I was a little reluctant to go into the line. But I went into it anyway because if he had something, I wanted to see what it was. So I play A4. This is the anti-martial. The same line we played. He go Bishop B7. And I played D3. The last game, Brad played D5. This time he correctly plays D6. So I go into my prep, knight to B2. And here he played a move I haven't seen before, knight D7. And the normal move here is knight A5, Bishop A2, C4, C3, B4, knight here, take, pawn up, knight here, take. So that's the normal moves. So Brad left the normal moves and he went knight D7. So I'm out of my prep, and I didn't think knight D7 was necessarily a threat. I thought he was trying to go for an F5 push. So I just want to reroute my knight to the G3 square where it goes in these lines, where I can put some pressure on F5. So I go knight F1, and Brad hits me with knight C5. So now I see what his objective was, to hit the bishop and his pawn. So the engine wants me to trade pawns, A captures, to allow the knight to go, and the rooks to come off, and I'll lose my light square bishop. But the engine's saying that that position is okay for white. But here I play bishop A2. I want to keep my bishop. And what I was looking at is, hold on. I want my bishop controlling this line, so F7 is a weak point. I'm controlling that diagonal. So in order to keep that, I'm giving up a pawn sack. So the knight takes on A4, which I'm okay with. And here I go C3. Keeping the other knight out of my territory. There will be no knight B4. And here he falls back to knight B6. And I bring my knight to G3 where I want it. The engine wants H5 right away. And I thought about H5 with the idea of H5 pushing it all the way down to H6 and weakening the pawn structure. And if the bishop captures, the knight captures, and then I can get this open file here. Well, I can just go F3, king, maybe king F1, E2, and then rook on H file. That's a possibility. So here, the engine wants bishop C8. But Brad went knight D7. He's just steadily moving this knight. And it gives white, you see the evaluation bar. White gets a slight advantage, very slight. And the engine wants knight f5 here, but I went with bishop e3. And my idea is to develop the bishop, develop all my pieces before I launch an attack. Because with knight f5, you just go g6. I don't want to take the dark square bishop because the bishop is bad. And I go h6, the king just steps up. So I wanted more, I was looking for more. So you go bishop f6, trying to improve his bishop square. And now I go queen d2. My idea here is still h4 and to run his pawn up, and if black takes, I take with the knight, walk my king over to the queen side and double up rooks on the h file. And also, if things change on the queen side, I can always have a rook lift if I want it. Because I got this open a file if I want to play on the queen side. So Brad goes knight e7, another knight move. And here I'm thinking maybe he wants c5 or knight g3. So I had a long think here. And here I decided to come up with a plan. I want to move my knight. I wasn't sure if h3 or h4 was the best. The engine wanted h4. But I wanted to move my knight to h2 and then bring it to g4 with a f4 coming in, f4, f5, and just push on the king side to start a king side pawn storm. So Brad plays c5. He's getting his pawns rolling on the queen side. I go knight h2. And my idea is knight to g4. And the engine says king h8 is best here. Brad played g6, which is, you see a question mark, so it was an error. And here I played knight g4, which gives me the advantage of 1.11 here. So I got a complete advantage out of the opening. I got what I wanted. I sacrificed the pawn, but I got a positional advantage on the king side. I got a build up for an attack. So now I'm thinking bishop g7 or bishop g7. He wanted to do bishop g7 and get a knight f6 in and trade off my knight. But then I could go bishop h6 or knight h6. I got both ideas, and if the knight get here, the king has to step over knight, then f7 square becomes weak, and it's a fork where he had to give up the exchange. So I see all these tactics. Wow, the engine saying bishop h4 is the best move for black here. Bishop, hold on, let's put that on the board. Bishop h4. That's just crazy. Bishop h4, look at that. That's his best move. That's not even a human move. Who would do something like that? But Brad played bishop g7. And here I had a long thought. I wasn't sure whether the move was bishop h6 or knight h6. The engine got knight h6 as the only move, the only great move, to have a 2.54 advantage. This is just almost completely winning. Let's go down this line for a second. Knight h6 check. Bishop captures. Bishop captures. Rook e8. I seen this, and I didn't see a continuation. It wants f4. Knight to c8 to bring the queen in for the defense. The queen's coming to f6. And now the engine wants rook f1, c4, blocking off the bishop. F captures e5, knight captures e5, d4, knight back to d7, Rook on A to E1, protecting that pawn. F6. And here it wants H4. So you're going to run this H pawn down. H4, H5, and bust open the king side. I just didn't see that far down the line. I saw up to Rook E8, and I just wasn't sure if this was the best line. So I went Bishop H6 instead, because I wanted the knight to get here and put pressure. So I went the opposite way, and I lose my advantage from almost completely winning to just drawn. So you go King H8. I capture the bishop. The king captures. And I go Queen G6. Queen H6. Here the engine wants D4. I don't even understand the purpose of D4. Queen H6 check. So hold on, let's go back to this D4. This is what the engine wanted. D4, knight to G8 to defend the H6 square. D captures E5. Knight captures E5. Rook on A to D1. What does that even do? That don't make sense. What does that even do? So I went Queen H6 check. King H8. And here I wanted to go F4. But then I'm like, my queen has to come back out. So I went Rook F1 instead. And here the engine is saying D4. It wants me to go D4 once again. That just don't make sense to me right now. So I went Rook F1. And now I'm losing. And Brad has an advantage of negative 1.09. So he plays knight G8. The engine wanted F5 here. I'm going to show you that F5, E captures, knight captures, knight captures, G captures. And it says black is better here. But Brad went knight G8, hitting the queen. And here I made my first error in the game. I fell back to Queen E3. I should have went Queen D2 because I allowed F5, F4 to come in, giving Brad counterplay. And he comes with it. F5. And when I seen this move, I was like, oh my God, I just lose a piece. I just completely lose a piece. And here the engine is saying bishop captures the knight on G8. And then this knight is able to, no, it said bishop captures, F4, Queen D2, pawn captures here, and I think you can move the bishop back or capture with the pawn. You know, you can move the bishop back, and that's the best line according to the engine. What I did was wrong. I went E captures, G captures. I want this knight to be able to hit H6. And I want my F file open. So I want him to capture this knight so I can capture back with my F pawn and open his F file. Because I feel like his king is real exposed. So I'm going to lose a piece, but I still got good pressure going. So I fade the knight back to H2. The engine doesn't like that. I'm completely losing. Brad is up negative 3.69. And he goes F4. I go back Queen D2. He captures. I captures. And here he makes a mistake. The best move in this position is knight on G to F6. But Brad trades the rook. I thought Queen E7 was okay. But he trades the rooks. And then goes Queen E7. If he would have went knight on G to F6, his position still holds. But with Queen E7, the position is drawn again. And I came up with a fantastic move. Rook S7, as you see. The rook is protected by that bishop, which is still holding down this square. And now the queen is being hit. And what I'm threatening is my queen coming to G4 with a checkmate on F7. So the queen has to move and it has to control this diagonal then in order to keep from getting checkmated. So Brad drops down queen D8. And now knight G4, bringing my knight back into the game. I got ideas of knight H6, knight captures, and then queen to G7 with the checkmate. Here I thought I was completely winning, but as you can see, the position is completely drawn. I am not winning. So knight G4 was a great move. And here, Brad played a move that caught me completely off guard. The engine wants C4, D captures C4, bishop E4. And the bishop can fall back to G6 and protect that H7 squared pawn. But Brad played D5. And after about 3 moves later, I thought like that was just a very annoying move because it just completely blocked off my bishop and left my rook vulnerable. However, the engine doesn't like this move. It says D4, Queen E8, Queen F2, Queen E6, Knight captures E5. And if the knight captures E5, pawn captures E5, it wants knight on G to F6 here, but it's saying if knight captures, pawn captures, then they want rook E8. Giving up the bishop, queen captures E5, queen F7, then it's rook E7. Rook captures, queen captures, queen captures D5. Wow. So that's the line Stockfish wanted. And white is up 1.89. So I missed all that. I didn't see that. So that was the winning continuation for me. And I just didn't see D4. I did not see D4. So here I was debating. The queen is stopping me from coming in on the diagonal. I want to get in on G5 or H6. So I was debating between knight H6, if knight captures, queen captures, and I'm in. And I don't see, I don't see any other way. It was just knight H6 was the only thing I could see. So I played knight H6, which just gives up my advantage. Now black is winning, negative 2.31. So that was just the wrong move. And here the engine wants A5. A5, so the rook could come to A6 and defend its rank. Wow. A5, rook A6, and defend this. That's brutal. That is brutal. However, Brad played bishop C6. defending the knight, because in lines where the queen has to move, the knight is left hanging. And here I want to capture the knight. The king captures. I'm not sure how to go forward. So I was trying to think, maybe do I move the queen over? Ah, just no, the knight here. Now I'm thinking something like queen f2, queen f5. So what I did was the engine wants d4 again. I don't know what this d4 is. It just said he wants d4. And it's saying the position is completely drawn now, once again. So we going back and forth, teeter-tottering. First I'm winning, then he's winning, then I'm winning, then he's winning. And in between everybody winning is a drawn position. So this is like a crazy game. So I went knight captures g8. He did king captures g8. And here I played rook f5. So he went queen e7. His idea is to bring the rook over. I was thinking of bringing the rook over and try and trade rooks, and then I'm just completely losing. So I went queen h6. This way, if he bring the rook over, we're going to trade the rooks with a check. He take that, and then his bishop is hanging. So we go rook c8 instead, protecting his bishop. And I thought just, let's put some more pressure on him. So I go rook g5 check. Once again, the engine wants d4. We know his favorite move, d4. So I go rook g5 check. He moved the king back into h8. And here I go rook g6. He can't capture the rook because it's pinned. And I'm putting more pressure. I thought he'd drop back bishop to b7. But instead, he went knight b8, which I felt was extremely passive. But at this point, he's winning. Negative 2.90. And here I went rook e6, hitting the queen. The queen goes to g7, offering a trade, which I can't do because I'm down a piece. So I go queen h4. And here he makes a mistake. The engine went in knight d7, but instead he played rook e8, trying to trade off rooks. And that's when I seen a tactic. Rook captures, bishop captures, queen d8, hitting both pieces, and the queen can only defend one. So I'm going to show you, this is what happened. Rook captures, gave me a great move, and it gave me, I'm back at a winning, not a winning, but an advantage, 1.60. He takes, and I go queen d8. I'm hitting both pieces. Queen can only defend one, and he chooses to defend the bishop. So I take the knight. So now we head into a queen bishop endgame, and material is equal, but the engine gives me a 1.94 advantage. And here, the engine wants c4, but he plays queen e6. And that move is completely losing, according to the engine. I missed the tactic. Simple. Bishop captures d5, queen captures check. And I'm completely winning here. I'm up a pawn, queen in game. It's going to be king g7, queen e7, king g8, And it wants king h2 or queen e8. They're equal. Either king h2 or queen e8. And here it got white completely winning at 3.95. But queen games are very complicated and they can go wrong real fast. But I missed that tactic. I could have at least went up a pawn, got the bishops off, and went to a queen pawn endgame. And Brad was very low on time. So that's another thing. So let's go back here. Capture, capture, queen d8, protects, I hit that. Queen e6, the blunder, and I missed this. I missed the move, bishop captures d5. I went queen a8 instead, thinking I was hitting here and here. And the bishop can't go here to protect because the king is pinned. But Brad came up with a good move, c4, and he just blocked it. And here I went bishop to b1. The engine didn't like that. We back drawn. So it's just back drawn. So he captures. I capture. And here he plays e4. He got pawn rolling on me, a passer. I drop down bishop e2. The position is drawn. And here you play king g7, breaking the pin because the threat was bishop h5, picking up the bishop. Now I go bishop g4, hitting the queen. He checks me. The engine wants me to go king h2, but I stepped over towards the advancing pawns so my king can put some blockade on him. And here you go bishop f7, cementing the pawn with the bishop. And I go queen c8. I want to put my queen on the c file and just protect my c pawns. And my idea is if he drops queen e3, I can go b4 and my pawns are protected. I just don't want the queen to come in and come behind me and pick up my pawns. And he plays b4 just to break up the pawns. He wants me to capture, he captures, and then he's putting pressure this way. And if I come back and trade pawns, he got passed pawns in the middle and on the back, and I'm just completely losing. So there's no way I'm doing that. And I'll just show you. Bishop captures, queen captures, check. They're just completely losing. There's no way I can stop two passed pawns. They're too far apart. So I drop down bishop e2 to bring the bishop back. And here he takes. Engine wants me to take back with the b pawn. I messed up. I really messed up here. I took back with the queen. And that's negative 366. Brad is winning again. All I gotta do is play d4. d4 and the game's over. But he missed it. He played king g8. And now the game is back drawn. I go queen c8, king g7, queen g4. He goes king f8, queen c8. And at this point, he had like 40 seconds on his clock. I think I still had 15 minutes left. King g7, queen queen g4, and we just repeat the position, and it's a draw by repetition. This was a very tough game. It was swinging both ways. We both made some good defensive moves. We both missed some critical moves and some critical positions, but I really enjoyed this game, and I enjoyed playing Brad. Great competition. We just steel sharpened steel is the way this game went, and it was a drawn position. Well, great defense from Brad, great defense from me, and sometimes you don't get the win, but it's still fun playing. That's what counts. Thank you for watching, YouTube. Have a great day. May your new year be going good. Hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. It's absolutely free. Tell all your friends and family about the channel. Let's grow it. Thank you. Have a nice day. Bye.